pushing with something fast and heavy. I call that coffee and hardcore. Around my current blood stuff. It felt South America. You can't go wrong. It's time for coffee and hardcore. I take my coffee like I take my hardcore. Fast and bold, dark and strong. The cream of sugar will touch this cup. Can't think of a better duo. Coffee and hardcore. Coffee and hardcore.
Hey, what's up? This is XREDLINEX from Back to Godhead, and you're listening to the Coffee and Hardcore podcast. These guys know a ton about hardcore, especially the Hardcore Encyclopedia. But like me, they don't know jack shit about coffee. Except that Jacob guy. He knows his stuff. Alright guys, you've been warned. Peace.
Here we are, season 5, episode 5. And this is a very special episode for Wiley and I. And we're calling this Behind the Coffee and Hardcore Behind the Music with XREDLINEX.
Ding, 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 ding.
I'm Mick, of course, all the way in Parkersburg, West Virginia. And I'm joined by Wiley Willis all the way in Chicago, Illinois.
That's where I'm at.
And this is a good episode.
It is. It's different than normal because we're sort of in the band, interviewing the band that we're
Right.
in, but it's not really our band, but it is really our band. If
Right.
that makes sense. I
It
feel
totally
like
makes
I
sense.
would. Well, I feel like I would never have 2 Minute Minor come on and do it like this because that wouldn't make sense to me. It'd be like me interviewing myself.
Right. Right.
But having Marko of Redline come on is different because he writes all the music and writes even everything I say, basically.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm just sort of I'm sort of just a tool in this band, you know. I'm like the crescent wrench here. So I'm just being used for my vocals, and I love it. Like I think it's great. It's really the only reason I can do this band. I can't do 2 Minute Minor because of my schedule and my son, which I don't care. I love my son more than
Right.
any music, you know, so it doesn't matter. It's just cool that this works out and Marko does all the hard work behind the scenes. So I can actually be a part of something musically. So that's why this sort of works out for us to
Oh yeah.
chat
No.
with them.
Yeah. And it was cool because we have Marko on. Then we also have Zach, who basically rescued the project, and we'll get into the story of that in the chat. But it's good to have Zach on. It's always good to have Zach on. So
Always good. Love Zach.
yeah.
Another thing is we're supposed to have Jacob on to do 7 minutes, but damn time zones got us again. I'm like, jump on at 9. He's like, I've been waiting for an hour. I'm like, oh crap, 9 my time, 10 your time.
Right.
So
But-
I'm going to be reviewing a coffee that my friend sent me.
Yeah. Which is one that I've been curious about. So I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, him and I were just talking, and we were talking about coffee, and he listens, you know, he's not a continued listener of the podcast. He was listening to like 5 or 6 episodes throughout, you know, the 5 years, which I'm sure a lot of people do.
Yeah.
So he was just asking about good coffee, and I said I wanted to try this, and he ended up sending it to me. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it was a good surprise. And we'll get into it. We'll review it.
Yeah. And you know, by the time this episode drops, this is pretty cool. I'm going to shows again, which we haven't went to shows in a long time. But the band that we had on the last episode, we premiered one of their singles. They're from my area, Nuclear Future. We're going to their show. We went to their show that was actually in my hometown. And then I was told I had to go to this. But no, I'm excited. I will have also had to get to hang out with the guys in Zayo again. They're playing in Morgantown, West Virginia. So we're going up to see them. So yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, by the time this comes out, I've went to a couple shows, so I'm not so old anymore.
I love it. Yo, let me tell you that Nuclear Future spot, that little drop that they did was hilarious.
dude, the singer's a nut.
I loved it.
I know the bass player and the drummer. They're brothers, the Limley brothers. Cool guys, excellent guys. But
You say pool guys or cool guys?
Cool guys. I don't know if
Okay,
they're pool guys. They might be. I don't know.
That's what
The
I heard.
Limley brother pool guys. No, but they're good guys. They come in the store all the time. But yeah, it's been cool to reconnect locally with some cool bands. So
I love it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something real quick.
Okay.
So We're Self is the band that did the new intro that
Yes.
you heard in the beginning there. So this will be the second episode that they're on. You made that thing, you dropped the thing on the socials about that they did the new song, the video. And I've been listening to, I was working today and I put them on, We're Self, and I put on the Red, White, and Blue song. Dude, it's so good. It kicks so hard. The bass part is so gnarly and so good. It might be the best bass part in any song ever.
Which album is that one on?
It's on the first album.
Is it Liars?
2017. Yeah, it is so good. And then I started listening to, we had Joel on the show, on the podcast, and he was talking about when they just released that 14-minute song.
Yes.
Which I made the joke like, dude, that's an EP. Like, you basically put out a 7-inch. All of our songs are 14 to 15 minutes. Or albums. Sorry.
Yeah.
You made a freaking song that's the length of all of our albums.
Yeah.
When we put them on a 7-inch. And I listened to that song twice.
Oh, wow.
Today while I was coding screens. And it is so awesome because he talks about when he was an alcoholic, he's sober now, but he talks about if he got in a terrible car accident with his brother and it should have killed him. Like, if you see pictures of the car, he should be dead. They both should be dead. And he talks about if he had actually died in that crash. And this song hits so much harder now that I have a son, because he says, oh gosh, there's a line that it's his son basically talking and asking where his dad is. And he talks about it, his heart breaking because he can't be there for his son. And dude, oh man, it made me tear up. That song takes you through so many turns mentally and musically that if you haven't heard it, you need to hear it because it's amazing. It's so good. But here's what I want you to do real quick. I want you to drop just the beginning bass part and Red, White, and Blue so people can hear what I'm talking about. Don't play the whole song. Just play like that gnarly bass part. Let's drop that real quick. Dude, it's so gnarly.
Yeah.
He might have the best bass tone of anyone I've ever heard.
That's why I was so excited when he sent us the one mix where it's just the bass at the beginning, and we're like, yeah, that's the intro right there.
Yeah, it's
the little
so
extra
good.
part at the beginning. I was so excited. I went and grabbed all my Worst Self tapes.
Yes, you have all of them.
Except for I don't have the covers album. That's the only one I need to get.
Oh, I have that. So, I wonder if they still have it.
They do. I was on their see, I was on their site today too.
Yeah.
No, I listened to as soon as the episode, the first episode that we had that on. The next day, I was in my car listening to Everyone Is Replaceable, which I absolutely love that album. So
yesterday when I was working, I watched their whole video that I sent you guys in the
that I used the clip from to make the thing. Yeah,
that's why I sent that to you. I was like, we got to put this in. That video is so cool. I actually watched that video twice.
Oh wow.
While I was working, more listened to it and came in and out of the office and watched it. But like, that them doing the intro just resparked my love for Worse Self.
Yeah.
So I've been on a Worse Self kick listening to them and watching their live videos. So y'all should do the same. But this is a long talk. So let's get into it.
All right.
Heard Gatekeeper, the first single released from XREDLINEX, and we're gonna get in to the story, the grime, the dirt, the good times, the hard times, the great times of XREDLINEX, a story of an all-star cast straight edge band. Let's get into it. I had to cheese it up for the behind the music.
Right.
Come
You had
on.
to.
I actually went and listened to a bunch of the opening credits for a bunch of the behind the musics, like the Def Leppard ones. It's like the drummer lost his arm, drugs, alcohol, and women. On the next Def Leppard behind the music. There's like a ton of them like that, and I was like, that's awesome.
And every time they would go to commercial, there's always some tragic thing that happened before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking for my arm. The car rolled, and this guy came out who was a farmer, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on?" He's like, "I need my arm. I'm the drummer from Def Leppard. Damn it!" You know, things like that.
Huh? Yeah.
Well, then maybe you should have been drunk driving 120 around a curve in a freaking farmyard land, man. Anyways, sober
Tell
X.
us. Yeah, tell us what's up.
What's up? What's up is we are going to be talking about this little straight edge hardcore band that I guess all of us are sort of in. Zach's like technically the 6th member, right?
I'm just the guy behind the curtain.
Yeah, he's Oz. He's the wizard.
I don't know about that, but
we'll say Marko's with us, and Marko's the brains behind the operation. He pretty much writes most, if not all, of the music and most, if not all, of the lyrics that I sing. Mick plays bass.
I do.
So yeah, we're all sort of part of this. So I got a little free-formed notage that I'm going to follow. So let's get into it. So we're going to talk about 2 Minute Minor because that's how Marko and I met. That's not how Zach and I met. Zach and I met through this band called October to Death. But I was in October to Death. Zach was a drummer. I was the vocalist. I wanted to start like this, kind of harder style music, kind of hardcore, and 2 Minute Minor kind of replaced what I thought October Bird of Death was going to be. And so I sort of talked Zach into being in that band later on. So,
His arm.
but what's that?
Well, I twisted his arm.
Yeah, exactly.
Used car
Sort
salesman
of.
be.
Not, yeah, maybe we did because, so Marko was the original bass player. He was the first one to get a hold of me. I put a Craigslist out for starting a hardcore band. And I said, like, want to be like Judge and Warzone and I don't know, a bunch of other bands have put. And Marko was like, yeah, I'm super into 90s hardcore. And I was like, I want to do more 80s hardcore, but let's try it. Let's do like a mix of 80s and 90s. So Marko, actually the first practice we had, you couldn't come because it was your wife's birthday.
Yeah.
So
That
it was just
the practice we ever had.
that was what?
That was probably the best practice the band ever had. I wasn't
Come on.
And I wasn't there.
No, you weren't the drummer yet, but I remember fast forward to getting Zach in the band. We were just like, I think Marko by that time had already quit, right, Marko?
Maybe.
Or were you still in the band? Was Marko still in the band?
He was still in the band.
Oh, he was still in the band.
Yeah, he
That's
was
right.
in for a bit.
That's right. So we got Zach. Zach was playing drums. We sort of talked. We were sort of like, we're just gonna do one and done. Like, well,
That did not
October.
happen.
No, we did like
Not even close.
25 and done.
Basically.
But we were like, hey, we're just gonna do this record. We wrote a handful of songs, and it's gonna come out on a 7-inch, and we'll just be done. It'll be fine. And Zach's like, okay, I can commit to that. I can come practice, and we can put out a 7-inch. Like, that's cool. Because at the time we are still in October, that was still going pretty strong.
Mm-hmm.
And that didn't happen. 25 records later, and yeah, we're still our last one's still coming out in October, hopefully.
Maybe.
But so maybe. So that's sort of how 2 Minute Minor formed. And Marko ended up quitting. His dad was having some health issues. He just had his third child and stepped down. And we reconnected later, I think in 2020, right, Marko, or 2019, end of 2019?
2019, yeah.
Yeah, like a little bit before the pandemic.
I think so, yeah.
And we started working on a record that Marko basically wrote called A Goon's Best Friend Till the Very End. And I still think that the records that are out today, that's the best 2 Minute Minor one still. This last one might give it a run for its money, but you basically wrote all those songs too. But that's a great album. And
yeah, it is.
Marko and I, we kind of reconnected, and through that, he was like, hey, I got these songs I've been working on, and I kind of want to put this band together. And why don't you kind of talk about it, Marko? So I'm not just talking the whole time.
Okay.
About why you wanted to put Redline together.
Yeah, so I would practice at home. I had a different idea, creativity wise. 2 Minute Minor is pretty much Wiley's band. His idea, he has an idea, a notion of where he wants to go and what he wants to do, and I respect that. But as an artist, you always want to think outside the box, and I wanted to do something a little bit different. And I would write at home, play at home, had some free time, and I talked to Wiley about it and had an idea, wanted to do something a little heavier, a little different than we normally do. And maybe I caught him on a good day. And I said, I'd like to reach out to different artists to try to see if we can, collaborate and come up with some different ideas rather than the way that we've been going with the band that we're currently in. And that's where we met Mick, and Mick opened the door to the other musicians in the band. And we went back and forth through your podcast, through guys that that you've interviewed from other bands on this podcast. Met some great people through here. And, you fast forward 6 months later, the pandemic hits and everybody's at home. And, it was pretty much the perfect storm. Everybody was able to listen and write, and creativity wise, work on their instrument or their ideas and try to come together and formulate something to make it work. And that's where we're at now.
Yeah. So Mick and I just had started the podcast around that time, right, Mick? I think we're like in a year, maybe.
In a year, yeah. We're on season 2 by that time, yeah.
Okay, so we're in season 2.
Season
And
are you
then 5. This is season 5.
This is
Wow,
season 5, yeah.
congratulations, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's awesome.
it's interesting for
Wow.
sure.
You guys are pros now.
I don't know about
Got
that.
it. Employees now and everything. Look at you're moving on up.
Got
Moving
sponsors.
on up.
Got billboards.
Yeah.
Billboards. So
Oh,
yeah,
geez.
so I think one of us brought up Mick. I was like, Mick's got to be part of this because maybe I think even you did, Marco. You're like, it'd be cool if the podcast was involved in it.
Yeah, I think you
And-
felt like you didn't want to make that decision because you're like, it's not my band. Whatever you think.
Yeah.
Oh, you were telling me what a great guy he is, and we love his music and everything that he's done up to that point. And we're like, of course, if he would have the time. I think you're maybe moving at the time or something like that. You were talking
Yep.
about. So you had a young family also, just like I did. So the times have to line up properly in order for things to happen. And I think it did. I think you asked Mick at that time, what do you think? And I think he, was excited about it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember he had asked his wife, which
Yeah, I had
is
to
good,
do that,
which is a good
which
thing.
she said, of course. There was no discussion. I think she was more excited maybe than I was.
Yeah. Same with the podcast, right?
Yeah, same with the podcast. Yeah. You actually, we were sitting on the back deck of my old house. We were drinking coffee and you called me and said, "Hey, I got this idea." And before I think I had you on speakerphone and Lindsay said, "Of course you have to do that." So
I'm
So,
glad
yeah.
she said, of course.
yeah.
So then we had a different original drummer, a different drummer that would come and practice with us. If you want to talk about that a little bit, Marco, like the writing process and stuff of the Redline record.
Yeah, so I mean, because everybody is distant, California, Texas, West Virginia, so on and so forth. We had a couple different guys in the band. I think at that time COVID was going on, so the lockdown was going on. Nobody was able to get together. We're in Chicago, and you weren't allowed to do anything. You couldn't go anywhere. You had to be vaccinated. You had a vaccine card, so on and so forth. People weren't allowed to get together, so there was no getting together with musicians. Like we originally talked to a guy in Canada who's going to be in the band, and
Oli.
Yeah, he said, "There's no way I can do anything." He's like, the band that he was in, they weren't allowed to practice. They were in a complete lockdown, and he said, "We can't do anything." So it eliminated some of the guys that we wanted to be part of the band. They weren't able to participate, and I think we had a couple different guys in the band here that we eventually, the band grew and matured and found our identity as we went further on. Not that somebody was not good enough to band or there was no arguments or anything like that. I think everybody matured and went the route that they were supposed to. The old drummer that we had, he's in a really, he's really happy being in the band that he's in now. And, we're happy for him. So there was no bad blood with anybody. I think the way that everything's spilled out now is how it was supposed to be. All the guys in the band get along really well, and all we do is we laugh when we talk and bust each other's chops, which is
Right.
It's healthy. It's healthy. So, I think it worked out how it was supposed to work out.
Yeah, that's interesting because I totally forgot about that. Oli was supposed to be the original guitar player. He lives in Canada, Mick. I'm sure you forgot about that too.
No, I remember. Well, I kind of forgot, but when he mentioned it, then I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot."
Yeah, and he's in a few bands, and him and Marco are really good friends. They go way back, but Oli was going through some family stuff, and so
issues. Yeah, he's in a band called Northern Hit Squad. They're really big in Canada, and he had some family issues. I think we all did at that time. Every guy in the band had some kind of horrible thing happen to them with their family that literally set us back. And we took the approach where it's like whatever's meant to happen, let's respect each other. If it takes 5 years for this to come out, when the person is ready to say, I cleared my head, I'm ready to go, then that's when we're going to wait. And Wiley and I waited a year, 2 years, maybe, for some people. And it was a respectful thing. And it wasn't like a long time. It was when that person has time to get back together with us, we're going to sit down. We're going to wait for them. We're brothers. We're going to hang out. We're going to wait. When the guy says it's time, it's time. You know, we weren't going to move on from somebody unless they said, hey, just, you know, we can't do this. If they said they're in it, then they're in it. We're going to wait for them. And that's what we ended up doing. That's why it took so long for this to come through. But now everything's like a speedball. It's just going so fast right now with everything, with the creative process. Like, I think we figured out what works for everybody, you know, and the fact that we're talking about 5 other songs and stuff, I think that's amazing. It just shows the credibility of everybody in the band and their dedication.
Yeah. So really what happened was we got another guitar player after that. And how we got that guitar player was he was on the podcast, on our podcast. He was in the band Life Force and Vanguard, and we had Vanguard on the podcast. And I actually reached out to Mick and said, do you know any guitar players? And you were like, oh, what was the Zayo's guitar player?
Around my time,
Yeah,
it was Roy.
Yeah. And I brought up Roy, and you're like, I don't know if I know Roy's son is doing music, but I don't know if Roy's still into hardcore right now or not. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hit up Flint from Life Force, see if because he knows everyone in the hardcore scene, right?
Right.
So I hit, or maybe even that was maybe you even suggested hit him up. Someone did. So I hit him up, and he was like, yo, you should actually ask Josh, you know, the guitar player of one of them of Life Force and Vanguard. He's like super into doing straight edge projects and into helping and stuff. So I hit up Josh, and Josh instantly was like, let's do it. So that's how we got quick. Josh. Yeah. Well, I sent him 11th Hour too, and he was like, oh, I love this. We got to do it.
Yeah.
We got to do it. And then Mick, it was actually Mick's idea to get our drummer.
Yeah, Matt.
Yeah.
He's such a rad dude. Like, I just remember, like, that guy's cool. We should ask him.
Well, he wasn't on the podcast, but his band members were, right?
No, he was on the podcast with the singer for
Discouraged.
Discouraged. That's it. Yeah.
Tuning, he's in both bands, so.
Yeah, no, it was Tuning. He was on
Okay.
He was on with the singer of Tuning because he plays.
I wasn't on that episode though, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think it was me and Steven maybe.
Yeah, that's why I didn't know.
Yeah. And I was like, because he also plays guitar. No, he plays drums and Discouraged, guitar and Tuning. Yeah. And I remember going, dude, this guy, whatever, let's just get him in. And if you don't know who Matt is, Matt's the guy, if you've ever heard of, what's his Instagram handle?
I don't know. He's got Hoochie Daddy shorts.
Yeah, stage dives and high fives.
High fives and stage dives.
Stage dives, that's it.
Either or.
Yeah. And you always see him jumping into the crowd, and he has Hoochie Daddy shorts on. So that's people have probably seen him. So yeah, he was all over Takehold Fest this past year. So
oh, he was.
Yeah, so that's who's playing drums.
I'm gonna feed your thick ass some corn dogs. Sorry, that's from Goon, the best movie ever made. I'm gonna light your ass back up on fire.
So here's my question: we haven't talked about the first time we started recording and how that process
yeah.
went.
So I want to get into that. That's why Zach's here, by the way. So I want Zach to interject also. So ask your question.
No, the first time you guys sent me tracks, do you remember how it was sent to me?
Yeah, snail mail
and rock and wooden sticks, maybe.
A dove,
carrier pigeon,
deer, female deer.
Oh yeah, gosh.
Well, that's how we got all the tracks from Rob, who originally. So Rob is like pretty big in the '80s metal and hardcore scene. he played in a bunch of bigger Chicago bands, right? He was also in, what was the big band he was in Chicago?
In bunches and Lost Cause,
Yeah,
uh,
Lost Cause. That's what I was thinking.
Poltergeist. There was in a bunch of big bands here.
Yeah. So we go over to Rob's. Marko knows Rob very well. Rob's a really, really cool guy. Really easy to work with. He's a good engineer. But he didn't have he didn't have internet. He was totally living in 1985. It was awesome. The experience was great. Everything was great, except for he had no internet. So anytime we had to send something to everybody, he would mail it or have give Marko drives and Marko would mail it to all of us. So that was pretty funny.
And how I got those first thumb drives was it showed up in a package, and I opened the package and it was in an X-Men 2 DVD case. I still have it. It's in the drawer with where all the kid DVDs are, and everyone's I think I put it in there by mistake, and the other day I was going through and I'm like, wait a second. Oh, there's so yeah, the thumb drives are still in there. I don't know if I'm supposed to send those back or not.
They're all yours, brother.
But I have them.
Isn't that how didn't you guys meet up on the highway or something?
So Marko and I met off like on the highway somewhere in Chicago, and he gave me a grocery bag filled with all of these different hard drives for different types of computers, like internal, external. If you can hear the bag, I'm pulling it out right now.
Oh my
God. I have like 2 different internal hard drives with directions, another like a hard drive, a solid state drive, converter cables, like adapters, and then notes on each drive and what's there and what I should do when I plug it in or something.
Listen, when Marko wanted to do 90s hardcore, he meant everything.
He meant everything. Yep.
We're doing everything.
Properly
90s.
Eject drive afterwards. Be kind, please rewind.
Nice. Those are Marko's actual notes in his handwriting. I love it.
That's awesome.
I love it. So, Marko, I have to say, I respectfully am so honored. I think this is the best thing that I've ever been asked to do. And I'm not just filling up your tires with air here. I'm being serious. Like, this is, even Mick said, this is more mature. And Mick was in Zayo, and Mick said, I think this might be the best thing I've been on too. So I'm excited for the world to hear this. And the album drops tomorrow, by the way.
Right.
Once this comes out, March 15th.
This is the most, as far as music goes, is the most fun I've had in a very long time. And it's been easy's not the right word. It's just, when it comes to writing the music, it was just chill. And normally,
except for a lot happened though.
No, there's a lot that happened. How many was it 2? Was it exactly 2 years? Is that how long it took to do this?
Well, we figured out it was 2 years and 3 months and 3 different versions of all the songs.
Yeah, I remember I recorded the bass 3 times.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, three different sessions. So,
yep.
yeah,
I think Marko re-recorded his guitar twice, and then Josh did his guitars twice. I did some vocal stuff, redid some things, but mainly kept all my vocals. But then Zach came over to Bellyacres, and we put some vocals down on the intro track.
Yeah, that was I think when you guys started recording was sometime in 2021, and then Glenn and I did the last vocal recording like fall of last year, and it was just to get the vocals for the last track. It was supposed to be like this instrumental demo, instrumental intro, I think. And you guys decided, we want to have lyrics to this, and then we just recorded vocals last minute, and it made it to it's the title track of the album. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yes. So I want to get Marko in this too. I want him to talk a little bit about this, but like, he basically sent me so here's how Marko writes. He writes the guitar parts, he sends them to me and says, what do you think? And I either say, I think this is really, really good, you should expand on this, or let's abandon this. which I rarely say, let's abandon this, but there's sometimes where I say, hey, maybe we should do this part a little bit different. But for the most part, everything he sends to me is usable, and we just change some things around sometimes. And then he sends me lyrics, and when we work on them, I just change them slightly. Sometimes he doesn't give me full lyrics, and so I have to expand and like add some things. But when he gives me like a starting point, it's so easy. Like this band is so great because Marko does all the work, really.
Right?
He really does, but it's really good too. Like, and again, I'm not blowing smoke. His lyrics and the music is so good that it's exciting to work on. So
Yeah.
so he'll send me demos of him playing guitar on his computer and singing to it. And it actually helps me a ton because I'll listen to it for days and days and days and get down the vocal melody. And then when we practice, it really comes out how I sing it, but in his sort of vocal patterns and melodies. So it's cool because it's not what I would normally do.
I think
I've had a
goes like we try to approach it that this is everybody's art form, meaning that this is the starting point and nobody's going to dictate anything, how you play your instrument, how you sing. We just give you help on an idea like this is what we were thinking, but you run with it. So the way the album comes out is literally 5 different versions of somebody's art. Mick played bass the way he played. We didn't tell him this is what we need. He just listened to it and said, okay, I got it. And he created his art. And the cool thing I thought about the Red Line was I wanted everyone to have their own say with their instrument or singing, whatever. And however it turns out, we give it to Zach and Zach puts it together. And that's what the art is. If it turns out as a beautiful flower or a dead flower, it doesn't matter. It's still in art form. And I think the way it turned out really, really nice. Everyone had their say in everything. And I think, everyone's been in a band where someone says, oh no, you got to play like this. You got to do like this. That was the opposite of what we wanted here. We said, here's the guitar riff. See what you can do on the bass. See what you can do on the drums or whatever. Like it's an easier way to write and everyone is included on it. And it just makes it a lot funner and a lot easier. And I think it's just a better way and a mature way to be in a band, And I think it comes across when you hear the music, you can tell like it's different than anything I've done because the guys that are in the band, I've been in bands with like a lot of good guys, really nice guys. This is probably the easiest thing we did because we would show it to Mick and Mick say, yeah, no problem. I got it. And then when he sent it back, we're like, that's exactly what I hear in my head. He understood. Yeah. He understood and it made it so easy. So when you give the drummer, you give the drummer the idea and he comes back and he gives you exactly what fits. You're like, okay, this is a beautiful thing that we're coming together and we're collaborating and it is becoming a nice piece of art. It's a nice sculpture that we're sculpting. And eventually when it's done, it's, you can be proud of it. And that's what I feel like this band has been so easy to work with. Everyone is so mellow and low key but they get where they want to go. They want to write some great music and it's all in your head. It's all in your heart. And that's, no one's going to tell you how to play. And that's what I think is the most important about all the music.
Yeah, I think that's what you said. When we got Mick's bass parts back to the vocals, your guitar and drums, you were like, I think he saved this record. I think his bass is perfect. I think he didn't overplay. I think he played perfect. And I was like, whoa, really? Because really, Marko, he has the end say. Like he does give us all say, but this is your project, and we all know that, and we all respect it. Just like you said, 2 Minute Minor was mine. Like I was the guy who said, okay, this is going to be the end product. You're the guy who says, okay, this is going to be the end product, which is actually really nice to be in a band with someone else that does that. I got to say that I've always been a band dad. What's that?
I have a lot of respect for you after this.
Yeah, it's tough.
But that being said, like we had a snag along the way. And honestly, if it wasn't for Zach helping us out as an old friend, we didn't go to him as our sound guy. We went to him as a friend and he said, let me see if I can help you guys out. And he really did save it. And that's
we were going to
know, like, you know, having the long distance thing happen, having COVID happen, everyone recording in different places at different times. That's a struggle, you know, and if we're not all on the same page, it could be really difficult. And Zach came through and pulled a rabbit out of the hat, you know, and we are so happy with the outcome of what he's been able to do with the whole project.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was talks of even abandoning those 7 tracks. Like we were like, man, this is just not gonna work. I mean, I called Mick and talked to him. You know, you talked to me about it. Like, all right, let's just pretend these didn't happen because the person who was supposed to mix it originally, it didn't happen. They were going through family issues. Like you said, it was 2 years of a lot of family issues for real.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
A lot of deaths in the family and other illnesses and just stuff that was like, it made you realize that life is more important, you know, but music is also important because it gets you through those things. But we were like, well, we got to put some of this stuff on the back burner because it's just, and then time went by and we didn't even know, like by the time Zach got it and agreed to do it, it was sort of hard for him because he would call us and ask us questions about the record, like how we wanted it. And I was like, I don't remember. Like, I think there was like 12 times I said, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zach, you should talk on that a little.
So yeah, so I guess I can talk about a little bit of like how I built the sessions and where everything came from, because it all came from different people at different times. So
yeah,
I had Marco's guitars and Glenn's vocals from Rob's sessions from the hard drives.
Which I am Glenn, by the way, Wiley yes, Glenn.
Wiley Glenn. And then I had some of Mick's parts from when he recorded to those sessions. And so the guitars and vocals came from with the original drummer at the time. And so I had to take, let me start that over. So I took the Marco's guitars and Glenn's vocals from the session with the original drummer that Rob did. And I had some of Mick's bass from recording those sessions. And Matt, the current drummer, had some of those recordings that he drummed to, and then some of them he recorded to a click by himself because he couldn't find the tempos to line up with the original recordings. So basically I had to take the drums from that session, first guitar, Marco and Glenn's parts, and try to piece it together. Some tracks weren't even at the same tempo, so I had to line everything up because I think there were a couple songs that guitars and vocals were recorded without a metronome, whereas the drums were recorded with a metronome, so there was a lot of piecing it together. And then once I was able to get the bare bones tracks for all of them, I sent them back to Mick so he can perform to those versions that are going to be on the final product. And then same thing for the other guitar player. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name at the moment.
Josh.
Yeah, sorry, Josh. And then once I got Mick's parts and Josh's parts, I was able to put it into the final recording and then mix it all down so it's one cohesive recording, and it sounds like everyone's playing together in the same room, which is what I wanted.
which is interesting because I remember Mick getting the original tracks and probably literally pulling his hair out saying, I can't play to these, the timing's everywhere. And that's an issue that we had when we were in the studio is some people were struggling with some different things. And so we were forced to record some stuff off the metronome, which is a terrible idea. And so when Matt, our drummer now, got the tracks, he basically had to replay all the drums to these tracks that were originally, before Zach came in, that were everywhere. And so he was trying to put it in his computer and mess with it and trying to put metronomes to it. And then, because I think he even re-recorded the drums 2 separate times.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. And Zach was like, you know what? Let me fix this. Let me get it. Let me get it so it's in time. And then I'll send it to you. And then I'll send it to Mick. And I remember when you got it back that second time or third time, excuse me, Mick, you were like, yes, this is so good. This is great.
Yeah, so I think I got Matt's second drum recordings, and if I remember correctly, the tracks that he was recording to were just mixed down, so he didn't even have the tempo numbers for anything, so he had to guess the entire time, if I remember correctly.
No, you're
And, and so yeah, it was just a lot of working, editing on the computer on Pro Tools, and just it was a lot of fun. Actually, it was a big learning experience at the same time, because I really because I've had lots of conversations from you guys over the years as you were like working on this, so I kind of was like in the behind the scenes know as this was going on to a certain extent. And I know definitely you guys were like kind of had it in your head that this was just going to be like a simple demo thing, just to like introduce you guys, and then you're going to try to do some newer songs with like more proper recordings later. And I really wanted to make this like the main thing, I guess, like to get it past the demo stage and like make it okay. This is our first record. We're proud of this. We want this to be just something that everyone will enjoy, and just like have this like awesome big sound that'll just pummel your face. Because I love these songs. As I heard some of the initial like band practice demos that you guys did, and then when the original version of 11th Hour came out, I'm like, oh, man, I kind of really wish I had a hand in this project, because that song's amazing.
Oh yeah, you originally pitched it to Marco and I. I think we were on a joint call, or we did a joint call later, but you were like, look, this isn't a demo. Like the quality of these songs and parts, if they can get put together well, they can get mixed well. This is going to be big. This is going to sound, I remember you saying this is going to sound bigger than a demo. You won't even want to put demo on this. And we're like, all right,
you were just going to call it
trust Jack. Let's trust
right.
Zach.
Yeah, you were going to want to call it the Redline demo. And I know like other projects we have had in over the years, there have been, I can't remember off the top of my head, but there was like a couple of the quote unquote saving the projects where I had to do certain things to like bring it to life to where we didn't expect originally.
Yeah.
And I
like a lot of the lockdown stuff.
Yes, that's a whole nother conversation. That was a whole nother fun time. And with the Redline recordings, just for me, I'll just say as an engineering perspective, when I listen to a song, regardless of what style it is or what like quality level of recording is, sometimes I listen to it for the song. I listen to it for like each individual part. So when I heard the original 11th Hour, and when you guys were like showing me like other rendered down demos, and I knew it was just going to be the guitars from this session or the vocals from that session, I could like hear those individual parts and thinking, okay, the recordings came out well, the tones and performances also came out well. So if it's added with the drum recording that you want, and then added with the bass recording that you want, and then fill it all together, I confidently knew going in that it was going to be a good product in the end, which I'm glad I was right, because I think this is like the best thing you guys have done, honestly.
Nice.
I do too.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing, Marco, I'm so glad these got saved, because you said it, like the songs were actually good. Like when we were practicing them, I was very impressed that these songs were coming out of Marco. Like they were really good when he was playing guitar. And so I'm glad it got saved, because it's not that the songs were bad and that the recordings were bad and it all needed to be saved, like it needed to be digitally, remade. That's not the case. It just needed a lot of work because it's taken from different sessions. And Marco was the one that was paying for these sessions. And we just didn't want to have to go in and re-record everything for a third time, guitars and vocals and whatever. Like it was just a sort of a nightmare in that sense. So when Zach basically came on board and was like, I'm going to make these songs are better than demo. They're way better than demo quality. I'm going to save this. I was ecstatic, really. And I knew he would, because he's a great engineer.
Well, thank you.
And he's for hire.
Compliment. Yes, I do offer mixing and mastering services and editing services.
But I want to hear from Marco about about that, about his perspective on giving those songs to Zach and how that worked out for him.
I think we couldn't be happier. The process was pretty easy. Once Zach, if you can talk Zach into helping you out, it's a lot easier.
Money talks, baby.
He's a busy man. I mean, he's a busy man. He's got a lot of projects. I mean, if you look at him on Facebook with everything he's doing with all these, great singers and stuff. The last one you put out with the one girl on the beach singing is
so good.
Well, thank you.
Good. So good.
I loved working on that song. Yeah. Are you talking about the one with the beach? Yeah, that's someone like you with
You're playing with your little Casio on the beach.
Filming for content is always it's a different beast that I'm still trying to get used to. Playing the social media game, I guess. But yeah, that song was Someone Like You with the singer Torn. She's based in Texas. Like, we haven't met in person, but we've done 2 songs together. We're already working on a few others
stuff.
as well. Thank you.
Good
so
stuff.
good. She's so good. She's so good.
Talk Zach into helping you out, and I spun it to him as though it's not a job. We're patient. We've waited this long. If you got time to listen to it, we'd like to hear your opinion of everything. And he's been, he didn't take much time. He took, a couple of days, and he called me and he said, I'm willing to take this on. I'm willing to put in the time to, I hear where it is. I hear where it needs to go. And we literally just said, run with it. Let's see what you come up with. And, we didn't give him like, which way to go. We wanted him to see how he was going to turn out, just like we were talking earlier about the musicians running with the music, running with your instrument. We told Zach, you're the professional. Let's hear what you hear, from these sessions. And he put it together, and it turned out exactly how we anticipated. And, Zach never lets us down anyhow. He does a great job. And when he said he was going to help us out, I knew that we were going to get to the finish line with this project, no matter what. Like, the project meaning these songs. I knew we were going to get to the finish line when he was willing to take it on for us.
Yeah, when you called me and told me, Zach said okay to it, because I was surprised, but I was like, you got Marko'd, awesome. I was like, that's the best.
Yeah, Marko has convinced me on a handful of projects in the past, but they haven't disappointed me yet, so keep them coming.
Yeah. No, you're doing great, man. You're doing fantastic for us. We appreciate it. Believe me.
I mean, Marko also got you to play drums on the last 2 Minute Minor record that's coming out in October.
True.
So
that is true.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got Marko.
After my 5th time quitting the band, he got me in one more time.
I gotta say, that was probably the funnest session playing as a band was that session with Zach.
Oh yeah.
He was a more vibrant drummer. You were all business in a good way. Like, you brought it every time, and from start to finish, it was a lot of fun as a musician playing, because your time was fantastic and there wasn't a lot of downtime. And like, I like to, when you come to practice, I like it to be all business, and that's how you approach it. And it makes, following you on the drums, it makes it so much fun when somebody comes prepared, and you're like completely prepared and a total professional. And that's how you approach this project too. You were completely professional. Like, you got the whole bag there by your house of all the stuff. You didn't bitch or moan about it. You just said, okay, let me see what we got here. Let me put it together. And you pieced it together like a real professional.
Well, thank you very much. And honestly, looking back at that 2 Minute Minor recording that you just briefly mentioned, because I think we had like 3 practices total to like get the songs down and change up some parts, and I think each practice was like 2 hours max. So in like 5 to 6 hours, we tried to get I don't remember how many songs it was, but we had to like relearn these songs because 7 songs. So yeah, no one's played it in like a couple years or together, and then we had a single day to record everything.
Yeah, 14-hour day, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, all of us were there, and yeah, we had to record everything in a single day. We didn't have time or funds to record.
Krista Quick, shout out, by the way, recorded it.
Krista Quick is an amazing engineer. We also recommend him.
And you and I went to his house, watched a Red Wings game, and
you watched the Red Wings game. I I was with Chris doing all the things we were supposed to. You were just watching your sports.
That sounds right, doesn't it?
Yes.
Chris was watching the sports too. I'm not a sports guy. It's funny, like when Glenn and I are on a call talking about something and then he brings up sports, I kind of just tune out and I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. Sports ball, throw the touchdown. I don't know.
Yo, he's a Red Wings and Detroit Lions fan, so I should just say we get along well.
Well, you guys are best friends, so.
BFFs.
You know, this is the second project that Zach saved.
The second?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Zeo.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
the third.
The third. Well, because if listeners don't know, Zach's the one that saved the preface record because that was never going to see the light of day. And I just so happened to have DAT tapes. And Zach was like, well, I might have a DAT player at the place that I work at, which is a crazy story in itself. Like, Zach, where did you break down that DAT tape at?
So the DAT tapes were digitized at Medieval Times Dinner and Tournament, the Chicago location.
And the best is when you sent me that one video, like you're overlooking Medieval Times and you're playing.
Yeah, because I think at the same time, because we always have new actors coming in for showcasts, like we rotate people and stuff sometimes. And so I think like a rehearsal was happening or they were trying out some things or there was a light programming happening. And before I wanted to like actually put the Zeo DAT tapes in because those are one copy. I did not want to mess that up because if those tapes gotten eaten, who knows?
We'd have a different conversation right now.
Yes, we would. So luckily, we have a decent archive of stuff there of like original soundtracks that were like when they used cassette tapes and CDs, and they also did DAT tapes, and they had a couple recordings and voiceovers of shows on DAT tapes. So we played it through the system just to make sure everything worked because those DAT machines have not been used in decades probably. So I think it was like a night's intro, like the guy was like talking about the Yellow Knight or something and just like this big boisterous medieval voice, and I sent like a little video to Mick saying, hey, the machine works, and Mick was loving every second of it.
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
As soon as we got the Zeo DAT tapes in, I just kept sending him videos of like all these songs, and he was just on cloud nine hearing these recordings again, probably for the first time in 30 years.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Sorry, what'd you say, Marco?
Songs?
Yeah, it would have been the first time we would have recorded stuff in like a real studio. That's before Tooth and Nail. That would have been Steadfast stuff. So old.
Hey, Steadfast.
Yeah,
that's a good segment right there.
It is.
That's a good segue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Segue. Thank you. I said segment.
Yeah,
still works.
It works.
It
gets
works.
us there. It gets us
there. Why are we talking? Is this?
I don't know what's
going on. Steadfast. They're putting out a record.
Yeah.
It's
Deja
coming out
vu for
tomorrow.
me.
Yeah. Talk about that.
No, it is cool. I've known Matt for a long time and never thought that would come back around again. And then when we started talking, like, hey, thinking about working with Matt, I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then when it finally came, everything came together and it was going to happen, I messaged Matt and said, hey, deja vu. And he goes, I know, right? This is awesome. So yeah, Matt's a good.
Because Zeo was Steadfast's first release.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's cool to come back around again. Right?
He really, I think we sold him you more than the band at first. Like, he was like, I have a chance to work with Mick again. Let's do it. And then I sent him the songs.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, these songs are really good. I'm really glad I said yes.
Yeah,
so that's really cool.
He really digs the stuff. That's what was cool. He was really, really into it. Like,
at the time, we only had one track for him to listen to, though.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And, so it was basically, we gave him one track and we sort of pushed that you were in the band. And that one track and then Your Name Alone was enough. So, hey.
Was that the original 11th Hour recording?
Yeah, the original, yeah.
It's still a good track. Even with its flaws and characters and like it's just the sound of that, it's like I could tell just that's a great song. And my gosh, Marco, that riff is infectious.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Like, it like got stuck in my head forever when I heard it originally.
Thank you.
Hey, and we didn't. Sorry, go ahead, Marco.
No, it's okay. Go ahead, brother.
No, I was
think
just
I know
gonna
what
say
you're getting at.
we forgot that we totally did a video to that song.
I was just gonna say the funnest part about that was driving around with Wiley in Chicago, filming some stuff, some historic places, and there's a good meaning behind the song, and it hits home to a lot of people and stuff. So it was a really cool song. I think it was a cool first single because it had a lot of meaning to everything, especially for me. I mean, you know.
Yeah, well, tell them what it's about.
The song is about, about suicide, and everybody is affected by it one way or the other in life. They know somebody or knew of somebody that has been affected, and we shot a video for a dear friend of mine who lost his life to suicide, and it was a hard time, still is a hard time, but we got a lot of counseling out of it by actually shooting the video. We shot the video with my friend Tom, Wiley's friend and my friend Tom. And what we didn't know at the time was afterwards we shot the video, Tom told me the same thing, that it hit home for him too. He had something going on with his family about it. And you never know, who gets what from whatever. But we've had a couple people actually reach out to us. Wiley knows this, to say thank you about the song, that it meant something to him. And, they're battling their own demons, or they battled them in the past. So the song, I'm glad that we were able to save the song. I'm glad that it's one of the songs on this album, because I really do think it's really, really important. I'm glad Wiley chose to do a video of that song, because I think it's really, really important, that message.
Yeah, it turned out pretty good for my first shooting of a video there.
Are you off in your directing services?
No. I'm not. I am not. But
wait, was that all shot on your phone?
Yeah. And I bought like a stabilizer for it.
Wow.
Yeah. I bought a tripod stabilizer. So
I did not know that was on a phone. That's cool.
Yeah. Yep. It was a lot of fun. I had never done anything like it before. So I didn't know. So I always know, like, when you're in a studio, having too many vocals is better than not having enough. So I was like, I'm just going to overshoot. And the problem is I shot so much, and Marco and I had him driving through the cemetery. I had him walking up. I think I had him do that like 4 or 5 different times. So each take was like 4 or 5 different times, and sifting through all that footage was the worst part. Like to send. So I had someone put it together. Right. And who had done some 2-minute minor videos. And so, but I had to sift through the footage to upload, to send to him. And I wanted to do at least 2 really good ones of each, so he had 2 to work with. But that took me hours just sifting through all that. It was crazy.
Video's no joke, man.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, Marco.
Thank you.
So at this point, Matt would have already been here, but Matt is coming in a week, and we're going to be working on some new stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's the question I want to ask you, Marco, is what is the future of Redline?
Well, hopefully, the album's going to drop here, tomorrow? And depending on how people perceive it, that's going to be our future. But I think we're going to continue to write, or we should say that's Matt's future from Steadfast. We're going to continue to write. We have a lot of great songs. I think as a band, I think we've matured even more, if that's possible. We're all a little bit older. So I feel as though the next songs that we're working on are really powerful and strong. And there's a lot of good, strong meanings behind the lyrics. I don't know what the future is. I'm hoping that we're going to play a couple shows here, and I don't know how long a tour we would do. We would do some shows here or there, depending on who would welcome us, who would want us to come play. We're open. And I think that question has to be answered by the bandmates. Matt coming in to Chicago next week from California tells you a lot about his dedication, and us being on this podcast here shows a lot about your guys' dedication. And I think, that being said, we have endless opportunities to keep moving forward as long as we write with the passion that we have, which I know we do, and we have a good understanding of who we are as people, everyday people, and when people have time, you write, you express your emotions through your music, and when it comes together, that's when it comes together. So I hope the future is bright for Redline. We're all good friends here. We all want to write music. We all want to, put your art out there and let it speak for itself. So hopefully people perceive it very well. That's what I hope. I know that they will, but hopefully we can play some live shows here sometime soon.
Yeah, I think it's the best 7 set of songs. I think it's the best set of songs. I know I already said this, that I've been a part of, and I really hope, okay, so when you make art or when you are in a band or you do film or anything, like there's times where you just know it's shit. Like you're like, that shit, like it's no good. But then people might be like, wow, I really like that. So you get surprised. And then there's times when a few times in your artistic life, you say, wow, that's really good. I think I've had 3 records out of, God, I don't even know. I've been doing music since I was 17, like probably out of 100 records, honestly, that I could say I'm really proud of. And I would say those 3 records are probably most definitely this one, the Tongue-Tied Redline, Goon's Best Friend Till the Very End by 2 Minute Minor, and then the first What's Your Damage record? Sorry, October Bird Death. But with that being said, we are writing. We do have stuff coming. And if Matt will have us again, we'd love to stay in the Steadfast family. So Matt said that he sends us updates, and he said the merch is actually selling really, really well. The record's selling really, really well. He's impressed by the record sales. So
nice.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing, right, Marko?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Happy for you guys.
I think once we saw the numbers, we were like, whoa, that's better than we thought. So,
and this is your first thing too.
Yeah, because we'd never played a show, and I know like we're all from other bands, and so our collective names have been out there, but not Redline as a whole yet, really. So that's cool.
Yeah,
I'm excited. I'm excited.
See what the future holds for us,
Yeah. So Mick, I want to ask you, is there anything that, because when we send you songs or we ask you stuff or tell you stuff or ask for your opinion, you're pretty chill, you're pretty quiet about it. You do give us your opinion. You have done the recording, same recordings 3 times. You've delivered every time. So we can tell you love the band, you're into it, you get stuff done. But what are your thoughts on it? Like, I want to hear your actual thoughts on this project. Did I lose him?
No. It's not a bad pause. I'm trying to think of how to say this.
Suck.
No, this is honestly and I've told you this before. This is the most fun I've ever had playing on anything. I feel like in all the things that I've done, I love my bass work on this album. And I think the reason why I love my work on this is so much because of the conversations I would have with Marko. And I'd be stressed out because I knew what it was like in the past to record something. Even when I was doing To Live As Son stuff with Eric and a couple other guys, that was so stressful because it was all like I was going into this room and I had to do all this stuff and it had to be this way. And Marko was just like, just do you. And no one's ever told me that. in the studio before. No one's ever told me that when I'm recording. No one's ever said that. They just said, here's a song and here's, it's just these parts and this is what you can do. Where Marko was like, you fill it out, see what it sounds like, see how it feels, and then you put you into it. And that to me was like, okay. And that's what made it a whole lot of fun to me. It was also cool to the environment that I recorded in was in my home. So I'm playing and now my kids are all with me, if that makes sense. So that made it more a family feel for me. So that's always been cool. But I haven't been this excited about playing on a project for a very long time.
That's exciting, for real.
And,
you were so excited you got to redo them 3 times.
Yes, so excited to do them 3 times. But it was also cool to like.
Well, you got to figure out your tone during that time.
It's been a long time since I've been able to take my time and do that. And
it's an awesome tone. We love it. It's right on.
Marko and Wiley and company sent you the terror, the
micro dark terror. Yeah. That was a huge inspiration and all that. Yeah.
We were trying to help with your tone because that's when you were talking when we had what's his name from Bane
and Be Well,
and Be Well, and Converge on the podcast, and you straight up asked him like, "Yo, how do you get that tone?"
And he was like, "This is it." And I'm like, "All right, well then we're gonna have to mess around with this."
Yeah, so I called Marko. I'm like, "Yo, let's get this for him. He's done a lot for the band. He's playing bass on it." Marko's like, "Cool, let's do it."
And the funny thing is, they shipped it in this big, huge box with no packing at all.
Oh,
and it's a small, it's a single tube amp. So you can imagine you jostle a tube amp, it's done. I have no idea how it made it, and it works perfect.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't invested in new equipment for so long, but this band made me so excited that I started investing instruments again.
Yeah, I know.
Like I took my my P bass in and had it all redone, and because we tuned to a different a whole different setup. I put different strings on it, and I am like, I've played 5-string before, but I love playing 4-string, so I completely adapted my 4-string bass to totally play in the key of C, in C now, and C tuning. And my guitar tech was like, "You're nuts." And I go, "I know, fix it."
Fix it.
Which I have the luthier at our store is a freaking amazing.
That's what we say to Zach. Here's the songs, now fix it.
So, so that happened. I just got a Music Man Sterling like around Christmas time. And there's another bass now that I'm eyeballing at the store that my wife really wants me to get, and she goes, "Well, you could totally play that in Redline." So like, it's like my whole family is involved in all this. Like, they're invested too. So it's hopefully you can tell I'm really stoked. I'm stoked for it to drop. I love getting little updates and seeing the artwork, and I'm like, holy crap, that looks awesome. Like, I can't believe I'm a part of this. Like, when you first sent me the graphics to the 7-inch, I was like, damn, that looks awesome. And
Marko had that made by a local artist here in Chicago also.
Yeah,
you want to give her a shout out, Marko?
It's Andrea Jablonski.
She did a rad job.
She's a mural artist in Chicago, a long time skater, punk rocker, old friend of mine. She did a fantastic job. And that was the other thing. We gave her an idea what we had in our brain, and we told her to run with it, and that's what she produced. So I think she hit it spot on.
Yeah, that is weird too, because so that's why I'm really glad that Marko is sort of heading up all this. It was hard at first to let go of some of those things, and now I'm really glad I did, because now it looks like its own thing. It doesn't look like, oh, this is something that I did. I was a part of 2 Minute Minor. I was a part of October. It looks like it's his mission, and it's just, I'm lucky to be a part of it, which I really like, that it stands on its own. And I think that's one thing that Marko really, really tried to stress in the beginning was, I want this to stand on its own. Like, it's cool that we were in these other bands, but let's this be Redline.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
I have some friends that were that are fantastic musicians that played in huge bands. I mean, selling millions of records and stuff. And the one drawback I always saw was there was one person in control, and they got a check for playing and all this kind of stuff. And they got to play on these great tours and stuff, but it was more like a job. And that was the complete opposite what I wanted, with this whole project is let the artist be the artist, meaning who drew the album. Let the bass player be the bass player. Everyone do their own thing. So you have an invested interest. So you can say, hey man, I was playing the bass. Your kids were in the back while you were recording. That's fantastic, man. Nobody should be telling you can't be recording at home. Your kid's there. He's going to mess up the recording. She's going to mess up. No, that's what brings it to where it's supposed to be. That's where the fun comes in, So if everyone does what they want to do and you can put it together and it becomes nice and shiny, hey man, it's a success. No matter what, it's a success. We saw it, everybody from the front cover to the back cover, to the lyrics, to the recording studio, to, everyone did something, to Zach, to all these guys. Somebody pitched in and they pitched in their idea of what the album needed. Nobody told Zach what to do. He ran it on his own. And that's why I'm so proud of it, is because everyone did pitch in and everyone did help out any way they could. This is not a one-man job. This is a 20-man job, 20-person job. So everyone who helped out and took a lot of their free time to see this come through,
Records are a lot of work.
Man, without
so
a
much
doubt.
work.
But then when you go back and look at it, I have 3 little kids too. One day when I'm not here, they can say, at least when they read the lyrics and they look at everything, they have an idea where their dad was. They're going to look at it and say, oh, this is where he was at mentally. Maybe it'll shape their mind to live a certain way. I'm not going to tell them how to live, but I want them to maybe shape their mind. Hey, this is how my dad was. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong, Mick, with your kids being in the other room. That's actually awesome. I think that's what makes the album so important to me. It wasn't all business. You can have business and pleasure at the same time and be a success and write something great. When you got somebody like Zach making sure that everything is online and how it's supposed to be, man, everything works out perfect.
Yeah, that's a good point. It did feel different making this record. You were very patient with all of us, which I have to say, I've been a part of a lot of records. I've been the band dad with a lot of records, and you practiced more patience than I had ever had. That's for sure. But being a dad, so that's one thing I wanted to bring up is when we started this record, I wasn't a dad. And now, 2 years later, my son's 2, I am a dad. I come at it from a whole different perspective. It's given me more patience, which is nuts because I feel like my son's been here forever, in a good way. Like, I feel like he's always been a part of me and my wife's life. So it's crazy that the journeys sort of line up perfectly. And so Redline sort of means a lot to me in that way too. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of learning. And I told Zach this behind the scenes when I was doing the Blamed reunion shows and we decided to do a Blamed record and I got together and was writing with them. It was taking so long, 2 years also. And I just was losing patience. And I was just like, this is driving me nuts. I got to be done. Like, I can't deal with this. And so I think Redline really helped me grow and realize it's okay to go slow. It's okay to take your time. It's okay to stop and pause and let people figure out what's going on in their lives and take care of their lives, because a band, and I didn't really put that together until Redline, because in 2 Minute Minors, sometimes I'd be like, yo, we got this show offer. We're going to play the show. And Bob would be like, yeah, well, it's my daughter's birthday, so I can't. And I would be like, dude, it's a show. Come on. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. And thinking back, like, dude, that was so rude of me. Like, you have to understand that people have lives and they're in different spots. And Redline really helped me grow in that area along with my son. So I owe a lot to Redline. So thank you, Marko.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, I think we all do. I think everybody learned a little bit about themselves through the whole project, learned a little bit of patience, learned to work with new musicians. I think going forward, the next set of songs that we have coming out after this album, I think it's going to be so much easier to work together because we already know how we all work, and I think it's going to come out a lot faster. I think you're going to be able to see the second release here, you know, Wiley, I'm sure through the podcast, you can let everybody know if they are interested, but I'm sure they're going to see it way sooner than later. That's for sure. And
Yeah.
hopefully summertime we'll have something ready to go.
Ready to record, you mean?
Yeah.
Zach, I want to hear your final thoughts on all this, on the record, on the journey, on your hand in it. I just want to hear from you.
Yeah, so definitely my hand in it was a lot different than everyone else's because I came into the picture a lot later, even though I kind of was part of the journey behind the scenes because I would be talking with you guys at various points throughout the entire process. So it's like I knew it as a friend and as a fan, but not like as part of the whole thing until the very end. Because I know, at least for you guys, you were working on this record for such a long time. I know for me, I'm the kind of guy that I don't want people waiting on me. So when I knew it was going to be my turn to work on this, I tried to like, while also giving you guys a good quality product in the end, I wanted to go as I didn't want you to wait on me. I wanted you to try to get this within like a couple weeks instead of a couple years, which that surprisingly happened. Like I was hoping it would go quick, but not knowing fully what I was going into with all the different sessions and everything, I'm just really happy with how it came out in the end. Honestly, like
So are we.
I still listen to this from time to time, and there are some like I've pretty much enjoyed every project I've worked on in various aspects up until this point. And I do go back and listen to everything that I've done at certain times. Sometimes it's like I finish a project and it's months after that I start listening to it again. But I can still listen to this Redline one and not be bored of it because honestly, these are really great songs. Like you guys did a freaking amazing job on this. And hoping you want to work with me again on the next one. I can't wait to hear what you guys are working on the next one as well.
I mean, we've already talked about it. You are working on the next one. We already got that approved, right?
Yes.
Just
signed the dotted line. I'm just kidding.
Remind us and say, remember when you confirmed?
I'm just kidding.
It's recorded now.
I think at this point, we sort of need you, right? You're the sixth member, as we said in the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, at least I know. Well, for you guys, you have your lineup set. You know what you're going to do from beginning to end. Like you have your process a lot smoother. Like if you had someone else to work on the recording and getting it all together, like you're doing this forwards instead of backwards, what you did last time.
Yes.
We started with guitars and vocals and then bass, drums.
Not on purpose, though.
It happens.
How it sort of turned out.
Yeah, and at least with most of the members are going to be together in one place to put the next set of songs together. So once Matt lays his drums down, it's just gonna be uphill from here. Like you guys are, I'm already confident you're gonna have a great sounding record by the end of it, but the process is gonna be so much smoother than what you had before.
We already know, like because of just the drums, it's gonna be a lot smoother because of how we learned to record them correctly now. I think it's gonna be, which is funny because I have been a part of so many records, but this was like the first one that I didn't lead. And I'm not saying it fell apart in any sense because Marko led it. I'm saying it was all done new and different. Like I had since I moved to Chicago, since I've been here for almost 10 years, like we had sort of had a formula for all of our bands, right? For Octobird, for What's Your Damage, and for 2 Minute Minor. Like we pretty much did it all the same way, but sometimes with some different people. But we had this formula. So this Redline record was like, all right, we're breaking that formula because we don't want it to sound anything like 2 Minute Minor. Like I even said, Marko, hey, is it cool if I'm inspired by on this record, if I'm more inspired by like Bane and Rotting Out instead of, 80s hardcore, like in 2 Minute Minor, like I want to do that more like higher kind of, yell sort of hardcore yell singing. And he's like, absolutely. Like approach this, like, let's hear it. Let's make sure it sounds okay. But if it does, absolutely. Yeah. So that's cool. Like he said, he let us do whatever we wanted, and he's not lying. He pretty much said, here's the songs, tweak them how you want to and make them yours. So, and I guess you did that too, right, Zach?
You mean asking me? I did that too.
Yeah. With you basically had free reign of you called me a few times and said, hey, where are these backup vocals? But besides that, you pretty much did your thing.
Yeah, I just took the tracks and put it together the best I could of what I thought would be a good product for you guys and what you wanted for your overall sound. And even if it wasn't what you guys were wanting originally, I would have still taken that feedback and made those changes. But I really try to get it to the sound that you guys that you wanted in the end anyway. So
yeah, because you do that. Like, you were surprised. You sent me this record. I listened to it and I said, this is perfect. Did I not? I said, I love this record.
Yeah. So with all the projects that you and I have done specifically, like there are some that like the mix process is really smooth, and then others it was just more difficult because we didn't know what we a roller coaster. Sometimes we knew exactly what we wanted in the end. Other ones we weren't really sure, or changes have happened. And
let's just get real. I'm insane, and I say, do this different, make this different.
Yeah, there have been a couple projects where it's like, how there's like the engineering meme where it's like mix 10 final, mix 10 final. Like,
yeah,
we've had a couple of those, but
Krista
honestly,
Quick knows about that, right? For the
yeah.
I think there's actual folders for the Last Minute Minor record. Mix 8. Don't do another one.
Yeah, with this one, I think it was within like most of these songs, like after mix 1, like you really had like no critiques or feedback, or you're like, this is perfect. And then I think we did 2 mixes pretty much on the whole thing, maybe like a third on a couple of them, probably because of the tongue tied we added vocals to. But like,
yeah,
once we got everything in and I dialed in the sound that you guys wanted, like the actual mix was a few days at most. Like, it went by so fast.
So for the listeners, anytime we did 2 Minute Minor, I would be on the phone with Zach while he was mixing, and he would let me listen to it, and we would make changes. This one, I took notes and said, this is where I want you to replace this. This is where I want gang vocals. Then you made a phone call and you said, this is what I have. These are what I have. And then for 11th hour, I'm talking about the vocals. You're like, this is what we have vocally. Sorry, you gave me a little look, so that's why.
Oh, it's okay.
And then I was like, yo, I want more Marko vocals on the new 11th hour. Can you find those? So we just kind of went through those, but that was the only time that we were really on the phone together, other than you calling me and saying, listen to these and let me know. And I was like, this is perfect.
Yeah, because once I got like the main parts from everyone, there was a couple songs you're like, oh, I don't like how I delivered this vocal in this verse. Let's try to find it from a take from somewhere else. So I had to go through the drives and go through the different sessions and files. Like, some of them were a little bit unorganized for my taste personally, but sorry, just give me a second. I forgot what I was saying. You could cut that last part out because I don't want to
cut that.
Yeah,
Don't cut it though.
I don't want to diss any engineers because Rob did a really great job on the recordings anyway. I mean, he got the perfect guitar tone and your vocals came out great too. So I don't want to diss him on that. It's just our workflows were different. And
and you use different formats too to record.
Yeah. So I'll circle back and start that over. So making.
Oh no, it's no.
We're keeping it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Who cares? You didn't diss. Only you.
You didn't diss nobody. Yeah,
you didn't diss nobody.
Well, okay. Yeah. So like there's a couple times where like we needed to find backing vocals from it that I couldn't find originally, and that was like a phone call, and then like a couple other vocal takes that I had to replace, and getting Marko's vocals on 11th hour, just the additional stuff we added just made that song even more killer than it is. Ding ding ding.
Ding ding.
That's my killer count now.
So I have a final question.
Yes.
because Marko brought it up. He said about playing shows. If we play some shows, do Matt and I get to do our concept of when we play shows, like how to present ourselves?
What do you mean?
100%.
Like mullet wigs or what?
Do you remember when I was joking around saying when the first press thing came out, it was Marko, and then everybody else was what bands we were in, and I said, does this mean whenever we play live, everybody has to wear ski masks except for Marko?
Yeah.
And then Matt said, yes, ski masks and hoochie shorts. That's it. I'm ready.
Gross.
I'm ready. Totally going to dedicate to that.
Can I be your
No one
backup
wants.
dancer?
No one wants to see a bunch of middle-aged guys in ski masks and only hoochie shorts. I would throw up if I saw myself wearing that.
Oh my gosh.
There's one picture you guys should post of that ski mask. I think Wiley, you had it. I don't know.
Oh, the Pink Panther one.
Could be. It could.
Inside jokes. Yo, so let's give props where props are due. Marko, thank you so much for thinking of this band, for creating it out of thin air, for making these songs, for asking all of us to be a part of it. Thank you, Zach, for saving this record, for being a great friend, for always being there for us. Thank you, Josh, for playing guitar on this and eating the vegan ice cream we sent you. Thank you, Matt, for your awesome Hoochie Daddy shorts, for being a great drummer. Marko actually went out and saw his band play when they played in Chicago. I was actually in Michigan at the time, but I wish I could have been there. Thank you for coming to Chicago. Thank you for playing drums on this record. Thank you for not getting scared away by a mess of a record at first. Thank you for sticking with it. Thank you, Rob Bird at is it Makeshift Studios? For for recording us, for letting us come into your house, for letting us use your bathroom, for letting us eat your food, for letting us pour out your beer. No, I'm just kidding. We didn't pour out your beer. Thank you, Mick, for laying down the bass 3 times. You're a trooper.
Thank you.
Thank you to thank you. That I was gonna do them last. Yeah. Thank you to Jesse for coming in and doing gang vocals. Tom Petrowski. Jesse plays in the Satire. We love him. He's such a great guy. His vocals are so powerful and strong. He should be everybody's singer. He should take over for me. And thank you, Matt, from Steadfast, because Matt has done a ton. Matt put all this together. Matt put all the artwork together. We mocked it up. He put it all together. He's doing everything. He's shipping out all the orders. He's just huge. Matt is huge. Matt's promoting it. He's put everything together. He just put everything together so professionally and sent me emails about the singles. I've never had a label send emails about, okay, this is the itinerary kind of like of how everything's going to go. And I'm just like, it blew me away. So thank you, Matt. You're awesome. Yeah. We hope we can work with you again.
Thanks to Coffee and Hardcore for keeping hardcore relevant. You guys are doing
those
great.
Bitches. No, we don't keep hardcore relevant. Come on.
That's not true. You're interviewing a lot of bands that everybody wants to hear from. I mean, you guys got a couple of good guys that you're going to interview. You told me. I don't know if you can say that.
We don't say it yet. Just like
So I'm just saying, you got a lot of great guests coming up, and you've interviewed a lot of old guests that I wanted to hear from and get their take on a lot of things. So I appreciate the time that you take to do it. And I know you guys are passionate about it. And most of all, you're real about it. So you interview people that I want to hear from. And that means a lot to me, you know? So you guys,
thank you.
Keep up the great work. We appreciate it.
Awesome. Hey, Zach.
Hey, Glenn, Wiley.
Hey, Zachary Doc. So you brought it to my attention that we forgot someone very important to thank with the Redline records. So who is it?
The legendary Will Killingsworth, who mastered this album and just made it epic, and it punches you in the face and your gut.
Yes.
Face gut punch, boom, boom.
What's up, everyone? This is your boy Matt, the singer of Contact out of Richmond, Virginia, and also a former guest of this here podcast. We're super stoked that the Coffee and Hardcore boys have agreed to share our new song with you. This one is called Engine. We're releasing it as a single, but it's also going to be part of an EP coming up this summer entitled Curse Breaker. So if you are into it, you can check it out on Apple Music or Spotify, and then you can also come internet chill with us at Instagram.com/contacthardcore and keep up with tours and shows and whatever. So that's enough of me talking. Thanks so much for listening, and here is our new song, Engine.
Sometimes I cry. A tear streams down my face for the passing of days. We're fading away, and the pain break the cycle. Only grief turns to gem. 'Cause no one ever really dies. Every star that you see is dead. But the light never really dies. From the void to your eyes, light never really dies. Extinguish my eyes so that I might see. Death is the engine of life. Every cell, every flower, destroyed so that I might live. Every bird, every grave, died so that I might live.
why not die the last time?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for 7 Minutes in Heaven with Not Jacob. Filling in for Jacob this week is the one and only Wiley Willis.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I am.
All right, 7 minutes. Here we go.
Okay. I'm going to need you to listen to my review. I got Jittery Jones coffee. Okay, for real. I got Jittery Jones coffee. So, let's just say it's in a Pete the Cat tin. For all
Nice.
y'all who don't have kids and don't know, Pete the Cat is amazing. It was a kid's book, a children's book, and then turned into a TV show, an Amazon original. And my son absolutely loves it. So I wanted to get this to just for the tin to give to my son. I didn't care what the coffee tasted like. But then I went and looked. Yeah. But then I went and looked and it was like $25. And I was like, I don't know. But I was talking with my friend Tom from Michigan, and he has listened to a few episodes. He was asking me about some good coffee that I have had or wanted to try. And I brought up this Jittery Jones Pete the Cat coffee, but then I also brought up sort of expensive. I wanted it for my son. Well, anyways, I went to the mail today and it was theirs. And he had got it for me. He had texted me and said, I saw it was delivered. Did you get it? And I said, yes, thank you so much. It is. So I read a comment on the post, though, that said, came for the tin, stayed for the coffee. And I have to say, it might be some of the best coffee that I have had in a very long time.
Oh.
It is so smooth. It might be the smoothest coffee that I've drank in a very long time.
Ooh.
It has like sort of, it's medium. So it's like middle road medium. And to me, it's a little bit lighter. It's great. It's so smooth and it has a nutty taste to it. It is excellent. I let Cody at work try it and he said the exact same thing. He said, this coffee is so extremely smooth. It's very nutty. It is excellent. I could talk about this for hours. I only have 7 minutes and that wouldn't give it enough praise. Jittery Joe's. I always want to say Jittery Jones, but it's Jittery Joe's coffee, Pete the Cat blend. So good. I can't believe it. I love it. You're staring at the clock. I love it.
It's that good.
It is that good. You're going to try to get me to talk and cut me off like I do to Jacob. So let's do it. Let's get into it. You got to ask me a question.
All right. I'm going to ask you a question. All right. How did you brew this coffee?
Just at work. Drip brew.
Drip brew. Now,
Yeah.
does it come whole bean or already?
I think you can pick. I don't know. He sent me whole bean. Like I said, I didn't buy it. But, oh, dang it.
You done ruined it.
I done spilled. But it doesn't come with like it's like in the tin. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's so good.
How many ounces is that?
12, and they're from Georgia, Athens, Georgia, the brewery. Never heard of them before. Love it. Will probably order more because it's so good.
I see ads for them all the time. Like they constantly come up in my social media feeds, and I love the tin. It's awesome.
So the official name is Pete's Groovy Brew.
Nice.
And it's got Pete, it's got Bob, his brother, on there, and it's got his best friend Callie the cat. So
do they actually drink coffee on the show? I can't remember. It's been a while since I watched it.
That I don't think so. But who cares? It's Pete
That's
the
right.
freaking cat. He's drinking
cat.
coffee. He's drinking coffee on this tin. There's coffee in their hands. Coffee.
So when you first opened the can, what was the smell that came out?
That's 7 minutes.
Actually, that was 7 minutes. I
It's-
gotcha.
Really?
Yeah, you're done.
It smells really nutty. We'll end there.
There it was, the end of episode 5. Great episode. Awesome to have Marko and Zach come on to talk to us about the Red Line Project. Good stuff.
Yeah. So we have a special band coming up that we can't say because it always jinx
Right.
everything. But if it actually happens, which I think it will, it's going to be pretty huge for the podcast.
Yeah. It's gonna be big.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
You know what?
What?
Brainbleed from Chicago has their full-length record, right?
Yeah. That's right. That's
the drummer and guitar player Jim, who were in Battle Royale, who did our first intro theme song.
Yeah.
Their new band has a little song for us. So I think we should listen to it. You want to?
Yeah, do it.
All right, let's do it right now. Come on, let's do it right now. Come on, let's do it right now. Come on, let's do it right now.
Sweet.
Hello, this is Kira from Brainbleed, and thank you to Wiley for featuring a cut from our debut album, Mangled Truth, here on Coffee and Hardcore. The song we're featuring today is called Empty. It's about the frustration that comes with a lack of integrity and follow-through. We should all strive to be who we say we are and do what we say we'll do. Thanks for having us, and please enjoy.
Years of letdowns have made me empty. I hate the world for what I've done tonight. Every day's a struggle, I try to hide it. It makes it worse, no one to confide in. I won't complain that life's not fair. Even though I'm broken beyond repair. Years of letdowns have made me empty. I hate the world for what I've done tonight. Been let down so much I wanna shout. When the sadness passes, the anger comes out. Can't control my feelings, I can find my thoughts. My brain's a time bomb, waiting to go off. Years of letdowns have made me empty. I hate the world for what I did tonight. Life rarely goes my way. It's getting harder to face each day. But I'll rise with the sun and put on a smile and pretend everything's alright for a while. Maybe one day the pain will come to an end. So it'd be nice to feel human again. But this world keeps me down in indescribable ways. Now my emptiness is now filled with hate. Years of letdowns have made me empty. I hate the world for what I've done tonight.
There it was.
Brainbleed never disappoints. Okay, so when they were naming their band, Jim sent me a list, like 3 or 4 different names, and Brainbleed was on there. And I was working and I read the names to Cody, and Cody looked at me and said, if they don't name their band Brainbleed, they are stupid, because that might be the best band name ever.
Yeah. That's a
And
killer name.
I told Jim, Brainbleed for the win. And they named it that. So that's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, that is awesome.
And they played their very first show with 2 Minute Miner's last Chicago show.
Oh.
So
That's
that was cool. Yeah.
And their stuff is already out, right? You can order it now.
You can order it now.
Yeah. Right now. Stop
is a
everything that you're doing. Order it.
12-inch record with the Chicago rat etched in it. And anyone who lives in Chicago knows we have these rat signs that are special to Chicago that say, Don't Feed the Rats, and they're pretty much everywhere in the alleys. So that's etched into the actual record side
That's
B.
awesome.
So
That's
awesome.
But
And
you know
he said
what
he's
else?
going to drop one off to me, so I'm excited.
Oh, sweet.
What else?
You know what else is awesome?
What?
This what drops tomorrow. Like this episode will drop on a Thursday. What happens on on that Friday?
So what happens on that Friday
Yeah.
is 3 months. It'll be 3 years of when we started the Redline record. And it's finally coming out.
It's finally coming out. Yes. It'll be here. Hopefully you already pre-ordered it. But if you haven't, it'll be out tomorrow and you can buy it over at Steadfast Records.
Unfortunately, the hoodies and the long sleeves, the pre-order already ended, but you can still pick up a t-shirt and a 7-inch.
Yeah.
From Steadfast Records, like Mick said.
But sucker, you didn't get a long sleeve or a hoodie.
So we'll put and those won't be reprinted. So
yeah.
And they're decent priced.
Oh yeah, no. I showed people at work the prices and they were like, "What? Wait, what?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Like stuff nowadays, hoodies, you're not finding one cheaper than 50 probably.
Oh yeah.
What are we selling it for? Like 24? 25?
20, yeah. Maybe
21, 22.
21. I don't know.
Is it? Yeah.
I can't remember. It's cheap. I know it's enough for me to go, what?
T-shirts are like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
Long sleeves are like 15. Hoodies are like 22, I think. I think 22.
Yeah, it's like old school 90s hardcore prices. It's like, what the heck?
Well, that's what we wanted, but
yeah,
we need to at least make a tiny bit of money.
Right.
Because you could buy a t-shirt for $5-6 back in the 90s. Yeah, of like bands our size. Yeah. Not big bands. Big bands were charging like 10, 15, but
we used to charge $10, $12 for shirts.
Yeah, but you were in Zayo.
Yeah, so
what? Zayo is huge.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. I remember going to local shows. Even when I lived in Michigan, like in the early 2000s, people were selling shirts for like $8 to $10.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Okay.
Now shirts are like what, 25, 30?
Yes. Yeah, I'm taking Lindsay to see her, which has now become one of her favorite bands, other than XREDLINEX. No, I'm just kidding. No, so I'm taking her to see. She's been wanting to see this band Sleep Token for probably since she's heard of Sleep Token, and I scored tickets in Columbus, which were crazy hard to get, but I got them, and we're gonna go see them. And I can only imagine what the prices are going to be for shirts.
Oh, probably $50-$60, right?
Oh yeah, it'll be ridiculous. It'll be ridiculous.
Like Iron Maiden tour t-shirts are like 60, 70.
Yeah.
But again, they can charge that. We can't. If we tried to charge, well, I would never charge that. So what?
No.
I think I've told this story before, but when I was in the Blamed and we did the Frail reunion at the Cup of Joy and we opened for oh gosh.
I know this story. Yeah.
What's the name of the band? Why can't I? Project 86. Project 86 was selling their one colored Gildan t-shirts for like $30-$40.
Yes.
And we brought long sleeve and short sleeve Champion t-shirts with a full 2-color front print, 2-color sleeve, and a 1-color back print. And I was trying to sell them for like, it was either like 12 or maybe it was like 12. Yeah. And I think the t-shirts were like 10. And Andrew came up to me and he's like, "You can't sell the shirts for this. This is crazy." And I'm like, "Oh yeah. That's what we're going to sell it for." And he's like, No. Look, when you play like real shows, you have to match the band. Sorry, he didn't tell me that. I'm sorry. Brian told me that. He went and talked to Brian. He like looked at me and just went, ugh, and went over and talked to Brian. And Brian Gray said, he pulled me aside and said, "When you play with bigger bands, you have to sell t-shirts at their price. That's like an unwritten rule. So you don't make the bigger bands look bad. And so people don't just like buy your stuff because it's so cheap. They buy everything." And I was like, "Nah, we're good." So I basically sold them for, I think I said, okay, fine, we'll sell them for 15. So we were selling these for 15. And I told Brian, I was like, hey man, if he has a problem with it, we'll just set them up in the back of our car and sell them out. But I mean, we sold a ton of them.
Right. Of
Because,
course.
yeah,
it's the
because,
blamed, and
yeah,
that's just I'm not gonna share my opinion on that. I'll just keep it to myself.
Sure, your opinion.
We could go down a rabbit trail, and I just don't like. I never have like a certain person that would belong to that. And I know I remember there was a couple guys that were a part of a band before they got into that band. And there's reasons why they're not in that band anymore. So yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter. That drives me nuts. I always hated, there was certain things that were going on back in the day, and it always drove me nuts because I was like, there's no sense in that. Like, I remember going on tour with 6 Feet Deep, and those guys, dude, their merch game
out of
was
the world.
Oh man, it was insane. But they would have like, like shorts with the shovels embroidered into the shorts, and they were selling them for less than $15.
Yeah.
And it's like,
you guys did jerseys too. You did champion.
Oh
jerseys.
yeah, we did champion jerseys. But you know how we got the champion jerseys?
Yes, at a sports store.
No, it wasn't even a sports store. It was it's a place called Gabriel Brothers. It's out of Clarksburg, West Virginia, and they had one in our town.
I thought they did like basketball jerseys and baseball jerseys and stuff.
Yeah, they were basketball jerseys, but we went and bought them from Gabriel Brothers, and they were like defects. Like they had, all they had was like the they were champion, but they didn't print the NBA teams. They were NBA champion jerseys, but they didn't print the teams on them. And so we bought them all. Like, we walked up to the manager and said, we want to buy all these. He goes, what do you mean you want to buy? Can you cut us a deal? And he goes, I don't know. And so he called somebody in like Clarksburg, the main store, and was like, these guys want to buy them all. And they're like, yeah, I'll sell them to them. They were already marked like $3. I think we got them for $1 a jersey.
Wow, that's insane.
And then we silk screened them. The first ones had the 7 on it, and on the back had something else, and then the next one just said Zayo with a line underneath. That was
someone was selling that one. It was like on a dark blue jersey. I saw that in the Christian hardcore forum or whatever. Yeah, and they were like $80. I'm like, $80. That was probably you guys probably sold them for like what, 20?
No, we sold them for like 8.
Oh, for real?
Oh yeah, dude, we had nothing in them. Like, it was that paid for a lot of trips to Denny's after shows.
Perfect. That's good.
And gas.
Yeah.
And gas.
Gas in 2 different ways.
Yes. 2 different ways. Yes.
2 different forms of gas.
Oh man.
Grand slam.
Yes.
You're all farting in the van. Cool. All
right, man.
This is why I do this, because as Brian Gray knows, him and I can talk for hours. He'll call me or I'll call him, and I'll just be working and listening to story. Like, I get to like finagle stories out of him all the time.
Oh yeah.
And so I feel like I got super blessed as him being my friend, because I get to hear old stories, and he doesn't mind sharing those stories with me. He's sort of the person that doesn't usually like to share it because he feels like it's like weird, but he knows that I'm super into it. And so like doing a podcast with you, I feel the same way. I feel like I get all these gems of stories told to me. And I've always been a kind of person who would like watch a movie, but would rather know the behind the scenes stuff.
Right.
So I'm always like on Wikipedia or looking up different things so that's why it takes me like 3 hours to watch a movie, because I'll be like, oh my gosh, this guy did this. And then I'll go into a rabbit hole. So I just love behind the scenes, especially. Go ahead.
So when you watch a movie, do you have the IMDb app downloaded on your phone?
I do. I don't do this. Actually, that's a lie. I was gonna say I don't do it when I'm watching movies with people, but I do. I just don't pause it when I'm with people.
What, Lynn's? Like, seriously, everything we watch, IMDb is up. Type who wait, they were in this and they were in this. And it's
That's
like
what I do.
every single thing we watch. It's hilarious. And I can't, so I have to tell her that you do that too.
Well,
Wig
so
out.
remember when we were talking to the guy from School Drugs? He does that too. Remember? I think it's like an ADHD thing.
It is. That's totally is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something that I forget how she found that out, but yeah, it's totally an ADHD thing.
Does she have ADHD?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And there you go. It checks out.
There you go. Checks out. Yeah. I'll have to let her know.
It's just the way my brain works. And even like today when we were about to do this episode, we were trying to get a hold of Jacob to see when our next guest was on, and I had to know before it. It's just I can't focus on anything else until I until I know.
The funny thing is that me and the two other guys who were on this episode all knew. And so as soon as the screen went black and then you left, we knew what you were doing. We totally were like, yeah, he has to know before he can do anything else.
Well, that's why you get good friends. They understand.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I appreciate you. All right, Mick. Well, let's I know you're tired. I gotta get back to work, but let's why don't we drop that skull crack outro?
All right.
I'm from Chicago. Thin crust pizza? No, thank you. I'm from Chicago.